call our meeting to order. Good to see everybody. Glad everybody could make it through all this rain we've been having. We wish for some rain now. I'm kind of wishing for it to stop.
Yeah. Be careful.
Brother Nehemiah, would you grace us with a prayer? Please, I appreciate that.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to come together. We pray that you will be in this meeting with us, God, and that we will come to some conclusions about what we can do to better help move our city forward. Let us all be on one accord and one mind and one heart to do what's best for our city. These are the things we ask in your precious name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Okay, I think all of you by now should have a copy of the agenda. You don't have a copy of the agenda?
You should.
It should be right there in your book.
Oh, this,
Right.
not a separate one.
It's the same one.
Just checking.
Okay. Guess Ange, we need to ask for approval of the agenda before we get started.
Motion to approve the agenda as formatted.
Second motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a proper second to approve the agenda. Are you ready for question? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
And those, the ayes have it. And at this time, we will ask for an approval of the minutes, as you should also have in your package here.
I will move the minutes be accepted as written.
Well, except, of course. I
Now,
said,
hold on a second now. We have his motion on the
Okay.
floor. Let's see if it gets
Oh.
a second, and then we'll come back for a question.
okay,
We don't have a second yet, though.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and proper second that the minutes be approved. Ready for discussion? Go right ahead.
okay. I was quoted as, or commented about the conversations with the sheriff's office and ICE. That was not me. I think maybe that may have been you. I mean, I comment about a lot of things, but I don't think that was one of the ones. That conversations with sheriff's office and ICE and the police department being forced to investigate immigration status. That,
Is that-
not that I don't agree with that, I just
Right,
didn't make that
just to make the
statement.
statement. Okay.
Could we amend the motion to include with the proper corrections?
Okay. We can do so move on that.
So-
Okay. We have a motion and a proper second that the minutes be accepted with corrections. Are you ready for the question?
Question.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All those who oppose, the ayes have it. And at this time, we're going to turn the meeting over to Archie.
Okay, there were a number of things that we talked about in the last meeting, but I think the most pressing one was the county provider with a follow-up on the conversation regarding community outreach with the Latino Hispanic community. And so there were a number of things that I left this meeting to follow up on in an attempt to schedule some community meetings to address some of the concerns and to hopefully get that community more involved in things. So we do not have a meeting scheduled, but I do want to give you a feedback of what I've done so far in my communication. I've communicated with the one lady that was at the first meeting, Maria, and also one Perez, who was the resident who first brought this to my attention. So for that communication back and forth, they have agreed, have made a recommendation for someone from that community to work with this group here and to help organize those meetings. I have spoken with him. His name is Carlos Lacombe, and he currently works here in Rocky Mount. He's a resident here in Rocky Mount. He actually works with the Keller Law Firm. And so we have had a couple of conversations. He has a real good interest in working with this office and this body. And also, eventually, if a seat comes up on the commission, he would like to be considered with that also. So he and I have had some conversations and looking at the population where a lot of Hispanics live in this community. So we just need to confirm some locations for meetings. He's made some suggestions. So as soon as we confirm that, I will inform you all of that time and location. Three of the most populated communities here in the city right now, and the Hispanic population is really increasing, which is a good thing. But I think three of the areas that he mentioned to me was Kingsway Mobile Home Park, Brook Valley Mobile Home Park, and also the Oaks. Those are the three may have some of the largest population. And I also know there's another one up on the north end of the city, Cross Creek, also.
Probably at Williams Trailer Park.
Williams, okay.
What were the three Kingsway with it?
Kingsway, Brook Valley, the Oaks, the fourth would be Cross Creek, and then there's also Williams.
And that's one where there may be some issues coming up because that property is likely to be condemned with the new 64 I-95 interchange.
That's on Sunset.
Right.
Which one is that?
Williams Trailer Park.
Okay.
There is, I've worked with the property owner, and there is condemnation proceedings and purchases by DOT pending and being planned, and in all likelihood, a majority, if not the entire trailer park, would be taken out, done away with. As such, there would be a lot of displacement.
Okay.
I want to let me ask you something. Tell me a little bit more about exactly how the commissioners are chosen. I think I know, but I'm not 100% sure I know.
Okay, we can kind of shift to that. I had a conversation with a member earlier before this meeting, so I guess this would be a kind of good time to talk about that. So currently, each council person has an appointment to this body. So that's 7.
Okay.
The NACP has an appointment, which is 8. The mayor has 3 appointments, which is 11. The chamber has an appointee, which is 12, and the commission itself has an appointee, which is 13. That's how the body is.
Okay.
Can we discuss, since that came up when you were talking about the Latino Hispanic outreach, and didn't we say something in one of the meetings about seeing if we could use our appointment as that appointment, or getting another appointment that wouldn't have to necessarily go through the, having a councilman to, or the mayor to appoint?
So what would happen, probably, the mayor has 3 appointees, and Ms. Moore is one of them. So she can kind of follow up on this. I think she's been appointed to another commission, so her seat may be coming.
It is. I told you I was a one and done. So my term is up June 30th. And I got a letter from the city saying, would you like to be reappointed? And I said, no, for 2 reasons. One, the most important one, is that I would like to see some other group on this board, whether it be Latino, Muslims, other than my special friend here, in addition to, or Asian. I mean, we're not demographically represented on this board. So I decided that I would not, well, actually, I didn't think it wasn't my right to be given another 4-year appointment, because it is a mayoral appointment. So we need to be looking at that. But my thought was, I don't mind calling David, or I'm not sure how to handle it, but I would like very much for a Latino to be sitting at this seat for me, so that somebody would have a voice. I'm willing to give up a seat here so that somebody else who's not represented can be here to say what they need to say. And maybe Carlos would be the person. But since I was appointed by the mayor, I'm not sure how I don't mind calling him and saying, do you mind appointing him? But he's not going to be the mayor much longer, right?
Correct.
So what I'm sensing when I talk with Pam is that people are being offered the opportunity from the city of Rocky Mount to do another term. But that's not the right of the city of Rocky Mount if the appointment is by somebody from a ward. So if a new person in a ward can't appoint someone because that person is sitting on this board because they were appointed by somebody else. Do you see where I'm coming from?
Not
And you
really.
Okay, well,
Because see, you're leaving it at the same time, if they appointed those people, they felt those people were qualified and wanted them to be there.
if it was the same person. But we're getting ready to have a new person in Ward 5. Not every ward has the same person all the time. So, but if you're a new council person, the person on this commission is not your appointee necessarily. Do you see where I'm coming from?
Let me
If
help
you
you with
want to
this.
reappoint that person, that's fine, but if you're new or you change your mind,
Let me help you
Go
with
ahead,
this.
Stan.
okay,
That has
good.
nothing to do with, who the mayor is now.
Oh, that's what,
No,
I
no,
understand that.
let me explain. And that's something that, any board, the city would do. They send out to all the members of all the boards, ask them do they wanna be reappointed, and if they don't, then they'll look for someone, let their representative know. But the election will be, your appointment will be in June. The election is not till October.
So that's a
So
void.
you will be up there for your amount of time. It has nothing to do with the new person coming on. So let's dispel that myth.
No, I think you're missing
No,
my
I'm not,
point.
no, I'm not. No,
Well,
I'm
I
not.
might disagree with you
No,
on
I'm
that,
not.
but that's okay.
You
I
can
understand
disagree.
what- I think
You
I
see
understand
where
what
I'm
you're trying to say.
coming
But, yeah, I mean, I understand what you're trying to, I understand what you're saying.
Right, it's
But
not,
I'm not necessarily agreeing with you, but I understand.
well, it's like the city is saying, don't you want to re-up? Without asking the commission, the ward, the council
Well-
person from the ward, the person from the council person from the ward may have changed his or her mind. And said, I would prefer to have somebody else.
And let me inject, and I was going in the same direction, Brother Smith,
Yes.
that you were going. I was kind of curious. We were talking about the possible appointment of another person from another ethnic group. And I just wondered, what would the process be, since we as a commission have said that we would like to see it happen. And I'm certain as far as, so the elected officials for different areas make the appointments. And
Right.
hadn't it been historical that everybody who's on the board will get asked if you want to continue serving? And if
That's how
you
you do
do,
it.
But,
I'm assuming it probably still lives up to the elected official in
It
the
is.
district. But if we should say yes, I think it's been, most of the time, they will continue to let you serve.
Right.
But I don't know that the people who are going off necessarily have any influence over who comes back on. So I think it sounds like it's a process that runs by itself, as opposed to, any influence that the current the current commission member may have. But I just wanted to know if there was a way we could influence the process enough to make sure we do want another person on the board, and if that be the case, what would be the avenue of seeing that happen? It looks like that would be the golden opportunity.
right.
In answer, I don't disagree with Mr. Dancy in the method he was talking about. We'll have to take into consideration that, each of us are appointed by either the mayor or by,
Or whosoever.
or, whoever has that appointing power. It is determined at that appointment that the individual that has been nominated by that person in office at that time has made a good selection, and that person has served or will continue to serve in a good manner and continue to serve the best needs of the Human Relations Commission. Since these are not necessarily political appointments and we are not representatives of that particular elected officer, it serves a good purpose to ensure that the staggering of the appointments remain in that manner where you don't have essentially a Human Relations Commission that is directly appointed by the city council to where they're going to mimic the needs and wants of the city council. We were appointed to be independent to serve the Human Relations Commission and to advise the council, whether it be who initially appointed us or whoever would replace them in an election. There certainly would be a method for both the executive director and the sitting council person within the ward that makes a determination that we probably want to consider having someone else take that appointment. In that manner, that's where, the executive director goes to the commissioner of the sitting and says, your your ward council person wants to appoint someone else in your seat, would you please resign? If they don't, they're gonna be hard, and, you know, the city gives them that letter, but, you know, if that letter doesn't come and the appointment is then terminated, they put somebody else in and then tell that person who used to help you, you've been replaced. I've seen that on multiple state and federal boards that I've sat on in the past, and it is specifically staggered with the State Human Relations Commission to ensure that the governor's office, if they appoint somebody for a 4-year term, those appointments start within the second year of their term. So they would continue to go over, so there is not a plurality of appointees that are going to do exactly what the governor wants, because again, it's an independent commission.
I guess my point is, hey, should there be a term limit? How many terms, because it's a 4-year term, how many terms should you have? Should you, you know, I know there's no such thing as term limits at this point.
Oh, Smith, you wanna come in?
Yeah, I don't know how we got here.
I don't know, you know, it's really not even important.
But I think that I originally, what you were saying, I think we had talked about it, Archie, if I don't make any mistake, we had said something in a meeting about having a Hispanic the Hispanic representation on the board. Now,
But
you
we
added
didn't have a spot.
But,
Yeah.
right, we didn't have a spot, so I was suggesting that perhaps we could go, that it could be reformulated in a way that we would always have Hispanic representation, we would always have, let's say, Asian
Asian.
representation.
Right.
Because they are smaller communities, they, you know, they are small communities within our community,
But
but
they're
still,
still here.
but they're still here, and they need that representation.
Yes.
So, where the and the precedent has already been set, because the NAACP has
A seat.
has a seat.
Right.
So therefore, we could say, I don't understand why a Hispanic or an Asian community seat those two seats couldn't be added to the commission to make sure that we have that representation, you know, on our commission. And that way, I think that kind of deals with the issue that we're having right now.
Yeah.
At least we would have that voice, those two voices in our, from our community.
Now, are you
That's
speaking
very
of
important.
actually adding some additional seats to the commission?
And those two
And there
seats.
would be a city council decision, is that right?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
And I think it's something we could suggest, and we have the rationale behind suggesting.
It sounds like that's our sentiment, I think we should that.
Yeah, I think we should suggest that to, and so that we can at least have that, you know, that those two communities represented on our, commission.
Okay.
They may be small, but they have a voice.
Right, that's small, but they do have.
Auntie, is that something, since we are talking about, I'm coming back to you, Jim. Since we are talking about asking for something of that nature, is that something we would need to take through a vote, or are we even ready to discuss that at this time?
Well, I guess the first step would be to come from a motion from this body, and then from that, kind of get the process started.
That's what I'm going. So I will entertain a motion
Okay.
from this body to, okay,
I
hold
was
this
thinking
second,
last time
let me see, is there a motion first? I would entertain a motion, from this body to ask the council to actually add some additional seats to the council.
I move, and I'll make sure I put it right.
Okay.
Would you?
I move that that this body have the Human Relations, department to put together, a request to have 2 additional seats added to the commission that would represent the Asian and Latino communities.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion and proper second. Ready for discussion, go ahead.
And my question would be is, NAACP is a well-organized, recognized organization where we have designated representative from, as well as the Chamber of Commerce is a recognized organization. Do we have recognized organizations representing those minorities that we could draw from, and are we limiting who we're getting if we only limit it to a recognized organization that we draw from? So you say we want somebody from the community, then we're essentially discriminating on an open seat that has to be this particular minority versus finding an organization that gets a seat.
No,
No, that wasn't part of your motion, that wasn't part of your motion.
That wasn't part of our motion.
Right.
Would you like
Let's let it-
designated for
let's let it
Hispanic
finish.
or?
There wasn't an organization that appointed black folks in this commission. or white folks in this commission. However, we are majority, in the demographics, we have numbers.
Well, if you're reading in wrong what I'm saying as far as organizations. Individuals appointed to this commission are either appointed by an elected official or by a recognized organization that was determined to be pertinent to this organization. Currently, the only other outside organizations are the Rocky Mountain Chamber of Commerce and the NAACP, both respected organizations that would provide a representation to this board. If we are looking to limit to Latino or Hispanic and to the Asian community, are there respected organizations in this community that represent that demographic that would be the individuals that would appoint that particular seat?
I don't think
If not, that's where I'm saying that if we then take a generic seat and add on, but then limit that seat only to Hispanic, Latino, and Asian, that is a discriminatory process there because it's limiting that seat. You want to have the seat designated to an organization, not to an individual or to a particular race.
Let me ask this
Because
question.
if you do that,
Let me-
how is that discriminatory? Because who else is gonna fill the Latino seat except for a Latino or Hispanic? Who else is gonna fill the Asian seat except for someone
So
from the
why do
Asian
they get
community?
special, why do they get the special privilege of having
Let's
seats?
get,
Well, first of all,
They,
First of all, they are minority communities.
Right, excuse me, let's recognize.
First of all,
Mr.
you need to
Dancy, raise his hand.
understand that it doesn't matter right now, everybody got the opportunity. You can, fill out a request to serve on this committee, am I right, not right, Mr. Archer?
Correct.
So that door is open. If the NAACP wants to appoint an Asian person, I'm just saying the door is already open, so you are gonna have to do it like he's saying to basically be correct. Because it's already open like that, anybody can serve. If the mayor got three positions, he can appoint, if a Hispanic come to him and say they want to be on this board, then he can appoint them. So you gotta be careful when you do this.
That comes
Well,
back
that's
to-
why I said-
that comes back to my question.
That's the motion
Mr.
was made,
Dancy.
though. The
Right,
motion.
right, now, and your motion has to go forward just like you presented. it.
No,
I'll
what I'm
make sure-
saying is the motion was made in their purview of, he's saying, he made it in the discussion that we should look for organizations, then let the Human Relations Department look for those organizations within our community if they exist. If they don't exist, then go to the communities and ask them, you know, who is willing.
Okay, let me ask you this, Ralph. Are you satisfied that, what what the gentleman here just said covers what your concern is? Did you hear that?
I understand what he's saying, and I appreciate the attempt that he's looking at, and as Mr. Dancy stated, we have to be careful how this is done.
Of course.
We can't just say, we're gonna have 2 seats and they're gonna be for Hispanic and Asian,
Okay.
because you may have 35 Indians.
And I don't think his motion. I
Just
don't think his
rephrase the
was
motion.
that
Who
narrow.
seconded it? Who seconded it? Did anybody second the
Yeah,
motion?
it's already seconded.
Well,
Yeah, it's
if
one
she's
word
willing
on
to
the
remove her
discussion.
second, then he need to go back and rephrase the motion. Just put it in the hands of,
Well, that's what, and my
just put it in the
recommendation,
hands of the Human Relations Department and let them discover what they need to do. Don't say specific.
my
they'll take
recommendation,
care
what I
of
was, in answer to his question, would be to rephrase the motion as to create 2 additional seats.
No, let the Human Relations Department
Hold
deal
on
with it.
just a second.
Create 2 additional seats and instruct the Human Relations Department to craft either, to recommend to the appointing official that it is highly recommended by the existing commission for fairness and to recommend that those seats are filled by a Latino or Hispanic.
Okay, let me do this. Let
Because
me
the
ask,
onus on the appointing official.
let me ask the architect of the motion, if he would be willing to rescind his motion and add some additional language to it, or would you like for your motion to go forward just like it is? And you can't rescind your motion.
Yeah, I can rescind the motion, that's what I started doing, is rescinding the motion, but in restating it. Let's see if I can craft this so it can be amended.
Okay.
Okay, what if we do it this way? If we don't say, Hispanic or Asian, but we have the Human Relations Department look at the demographics, from a percentage standpoint of what percentage of our community, you know, we know what percentage is white, what is black, what is Asian, what is Latino. And then instead of naming them the Latino and the Asian seat, naming them, we add 2 diversity seats. We call them diversity seats. And then from those populations, we add, once we find out what the percentage is, then we add those, you know, from those percentages. Does that make sense?
And then who would make the recommendation? Who would,
So it's kind of clear that what he's saying
Go
is
ahead.
that, the request would be for for possibly 2 additional seats,
Mhm.
2 additional appointments by the Human Relations Commission to allow for a more diverse.
Diverse.
Right. So we might have, let's say we have 5 groups in our city. We
Okay.
have white, black, Latino, Asian,
Middle Eastern.
Middle Eastern, okay? Well, let's say they come in that order.
okay,
So then, seats 3 and 4 would be the diversity seats to cover 3 and 4 on that list. And then, of course, this last one is not, but it didn't meet the criteria of being, you know, the next 2 seats. Does that make sense?
I think.
What I mean by that, they would be diverse, you're going by percentages.
I got you.
You find out what we may need 3 diversity seats, I don't know. But after they do the research, to find out what our makeup is in the community,
Okay,
then because we want that representation, those last 3 seats, 2 or 3 seats, those are our diversity seats, and they would take up that last part of the demographics that we have in our community.
let me,
Does that
Randy,
make
is that covering, getting close to what you're talking about?
And that way,
I like the way that he's working on that, but and again, crafting, and I think as a big picture, that would work. I think we need to be very careful on how we craft exactly what we would present to the city council to pass, to assure that it is not discriminatory in any way.
And can we assume that that's probably understood, if we're gonna,
I
if
tell you
we're the
what.
body who's gonna do it?
Just kind of to help us move forward, we'll take the comments and information that's been shared here and let my staff, we'll put together a recommendation. And proposal, and we will shoot it out to you all, and then if you all agree, we will make the request. Write us out.
With that taken into consideration.
But only if he's willing to rescind, only if he's willing to rescind his motion.
I rescind the motion.
Okay, all right. The motion's been rescinded.
I want to say something. One thing.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
You know, I think one thing back in this, like you said, that we need to make sure that that each place is represented, that we're not stepping off the board and they not have a representation.
Mhm.
It's because you're making a seat for somebody. You need to make sure each councilman has their appointment.
their
Like you said,
appointment.
y'all back out, but you don't know who that councilman could. May not be a Latino in your neighborhood.
No,
That's in that council, so you know, then your neighbor, your council will not be represented.
Well,
And you're gonna look at all of that when you do your
Well,
research.
you
That's
know,
great, good deal.
another reason
Here's
is-
what I would like to do
Okay.
for the sake of the agenda. Would like to move to another item. Would you finish your comments and then we're gonna come back to the agenda, Archie, because I believe you got some other updates and things here, is that correct? Okay, go right
okay.
ahead.
Another reason that I didn't re-up was because I am a mayoral appointment. He's not going to be the mayor. So is it fair to the new mayor to come in with me as a 4-year appointment? And once you're on it, you can't be asked to get off, according to Pam.
What do you think?
Once you're on it, you're on it. So why would that be fair
To
to you
Mayor Williams.
if you happen to be the mayor, to end up with me and I was not your appointee? And you're stuck with me for 4 years. So my point is, let's talk about what's fair.
You know, what's
Let's get that right. That's why I'm not your appointee. So that's my point.
Okay.
Let's check with the people doing the appointing before the city says, don't you want to re-up?
That point is well taken. Archie, go right ahead, sir.
Okay, next on the agenda, thank you very much for feedback. We would definitely will work on that and follow with you. What we want to do, normally the commission meets up until June. June is normally your last meeting. At the last meeting, we had this agenda item on because of time, we cannot cover it. But what me and my staff want to do is kind of provide information as far as activities the staff has been involved with. And you all have been including a lot of those things also for this year. I know we come to the table, we talk about all the things, and you kind of hear kind of the surface of what we're doing. But we want to take a couple of minutes, we want to run down and highlight some areas and kind of give you some feedback on some of the things and activities that we have been involved with. Especially, some of you may be amused at the number of cases that we are involved with, so this will be included in this also. So to kind of start, I like to produce, I do a report every year, kind of summarize what the department does. And just to kind of share with you, our mission is to promote harmony and goodwill among all citizens in Rocky Mount. Following the snapshot of activities the accumulation staff are engaged in during the fiscal year. And so I'll start it off, and then Felicia and Jeffrey kind of comment on a couple items also. Community-wise, one of the things we do, I think we do a good job in, we engage community, and we're out there having the situations that are sometimes out of the norm. And so two things stand up. I have worked with, and my staff, we have worked with engineering and public works, working with the Village Road residents and trying to address a drainage problem out there. I think we've just about got to a point where we have a resolve to it. There's some more things that will need to be done, but we have worked on that for a while. And that project is involving 7 properties with about 13 owners. Also, Freer Drive, which is one of the few dirt streets in the city of Rocky Mount, which is located on Gold Rock Road. The city has really grown in that area, and a lot of people may drive by and wonder why that street has never been paved. And so we're working with the residents there, and they're working with the city to try to amend the current ordinance that will allow a solution or less restrictive requirements to pave that road. And so those are two things in the community that have been ongoing for a while. So then next we have United Way. I'll let Felicia kind of talk about that, and we'll go on down to the list.
United Way Income Impact Team. Staff served on financial team to review funding requests for various nonprofit agencies. Members had to make a determination if agencies will receive funding based on information provided and site visits.
Also, we have staff members here on the Tri-County as a board member.
Yeah, currently, we do have a Tri-County board member that help with assisting Tri-County with planning for their annual fundraising to raise funds for their organization, programs, and services. Tri-County Industries, if you aren't familiar, they provide training, evaluation, and job placement for individuals that have a disability.
We also had a senior center project, provided senior citizens assistance with food, slippers, robes, and healthcare items for Christmas. The senior center collected the items. The Human Relations Department, we presented them with the names for the seniors and also delivered the food and items also.
For the past several years, our office has partnered with the Senior Center to help put on their annual plan and put on their annual Black History Unity programs they have each year at the Senior Center.
So moving on to the neighborhood, we do meet with the neighborhood presidents each month. So we continue meeting with the neighborhood presidents monthly to address issues within the community. Staff also provides support for annual neighborhood events to improve community involvement and quality of life in our older neighborhoods.
To continue with the neighborhood theme, we attend and arrange monthly neighborhood meetings for several of the neighborhoods in our area. 15 out of 19 neighborhoods have met so far this fiscal year for a total of 69 meetings. And staff member from the office attends at least 75% of those meetings.
So this commission, Human Relations Commission, we develop a process to address racial and or other sensitive community issues, sponsored 4 community conversation meetings involving 166 residents about the Confederate Monument, presented the final report to City Council from the community conversations about the Confederate Monument at Battle Park, selected nominees for the annual Service to Humanity Award to be presented at the Martin Luther King Jr. Unity Breakfast, partnered with Community Development and the Rocky Mount Housing Authority to host the annual Fair Housing Workshop. Staff, commission, members, and community partners serve as table facilitators for the Atlantic-Arlington Corridor Community Input Meeting.
the Mayor's Commission on Persons with Disabilities, in appreciation of Disability Awareness Month, which is October, we partnered with the Bowling Center, the Mayor's Commission partnered with the Bowling Center this year on a fundraiser to raise funds for scholarships to assist students who have a disability to attend college. Also, the commission sets up booths at the barbecue throwdown to share to spread the awareness and the goals of the Mayor's Commission. Also, they set up a booth and provided resources to students and parents at the biannual Nash Rocky Mountain Schools Transition Fair. And also, they set up informational booth at the International Festival. And just last week, one thing I just want to add is that the Mayor's Commission had their annual banquet. And last Thursday, the banquet actually awarded a $300 scholarship to a student who will be attending Fayetteville State University in the fall. And they also provided or awarded three awards that night. One was the Employee of the Year Award. The other one was the Employee of the Year Award, which went to Western Sizzling. They provided opportunities for individuals that have a disability. And the final award was went to a longtime member of the Mayor's Commission, Mr. Alan Mitchell. He's been on that commission for more than 35 years, so they honored him with a special plaque and appreciation.
Okay.
Martin Luther King Jr. Commission hosted the 31st Annual Martin Luther King Jr. Unity Breakfast in partnership with North Carolina Wesleyan College, annual oratorical competition, International Festival of Cultures held at Nash Community College. Over 600 residents participated or even just attended the event. Several members served as community meeting facilitators in partnership with the Human Relations Commission. The Rocky Mount Area Youth Council attended monthly meetings with the focus to providing leadership, team building skills, and educating youth about the importance of community service. Council membership has increased to 40 or more students from the area high school students, in which represents Nash and Edgecombe County. Hosted the 2018 State Youth Council Service Learning Conference. The conference was attended 40 or more students from around the state. It was students and their advisors. Applied for and received a mini grant to provide support to UNC Pediatric Children for Life was the name of the grant that the students chose to put that for the project. The grant will be used to help children stay at the hospital more relaxing by purchasing books, games, and some decorative face masks. Assisted Parks and Recreation with teen outreach programs such as Special Population Halloween, Prom and Dance, and the annual Fall Festival. And also, for the summertime, we're gonna do the Summer Night Lights. We're gonna help serve and do stuff with the citizens for that also. Youth Council assisted Parks and Rec with the Senior Citizen Christmas event at R.T. McCarty Center, where they serve the Danish and coffee and just greet and help put people on and off vans and buses. Worked with other community organizations such as Twin Counties Partnership for Healthier Communities, engaging youth from across the Twin Counties to work on addressing health issues with the Twin Counties. Rocky Mount Area Youth Council students have been involved in several events in the community and across the state. So far, they have accumulated around 350 service hours for this fiscal year. And also, next Wednesday, we will have our end of the year dinner where we will have all the youth to come in, but we are going to do special recognition for our seniors that's going off to college.
Gloria, on the question is,
Felisa. That's all.
going back in, the Youth Legislative Assembly, is the Youth Council scheduled to participate in that?
And that's something we're thinking about doing for the next fiscal year. We're going to discuss that.
Okay.
But I know that the cost of it really went up. But
I've
we're
been,
gonna discuss.
I've been a volunteer with it now for almost 4 years, so I know there's some scholarship there, so if they decide they do want to, let me know and I will
Awesome.
put a gold star on the
Yes, sir.
request.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Well, the human
What about the
state.
human relations, banquet that was in the making last year, is that still on the table?
Yeah, we had two scheduled dates for that, kind of fell through. We had challenges with this conflict with the speaker, and both times, but that's still on the table.
Brother Smith had.
Yeah, is there any way we could get, or, I don't know if joint meetings is the same, is the way to say it, but to have representation from the, Rocky Mount Area Youth Council here, so that we can hear some young voices sometime. I mean,
Sure.
That'd be good.
That would be good.
so that we, you know, we can kind of get our fingers on the pulse of kind of what's going on in that generation,
Okay.
you know, and kind of hear from them sometime.
Exactly. And I think that's a good point, and I commend Felicia for working with those students, because we really recognize, we see the ones that go through the program, and then when they get to be seniors and the leaders, they actually serve on the state level, appointed by the government, so those students do an outstanding job, so definitely.
I think you're on the next one.
Also, to kind of give you an idea of the cases that we handle, we have a wide array of cases, so we try to kind of punch. Give you a summary.
Skip it. Previous page.
Okay. Let me back up a little bit. The State Human Relations Commission, we've assisted in coordinating meetings between the Human Relations Director, Manager, and local commission, and chairperson, and with other members of the legislature during the process of the transition of the State Human Relations Commission, who is now, who used to be under the Department of Administrative Hearing. They're on a different department now. The State Commission, Steve served on the State Commission. The State Human Relations staff, they've become real active, and we have been involved in quarterly meetings. And so the last meeting was up in Grambling County. A commission or department hosts these quarterly meetings. That's a good way for all of the local commissions to kind of see what's going on. And we have some commissions that don't have a paid staff for some reason, so fortunately, Rocky Mount has a paid staff. We will possibly host a quarterly meeting here in Rocky Mount, January of 2020. So, kind of pinpoint it in the calendar. Moving back to cases, kind of give you a general idea of the cases we've been involved with this year. Employment cases, you know, the staff can investigate or inquire about anybody that feels that they've been mistreated. They can be a resident of the city of Rocky Mount, or they can be employed by the employer of the city of Rocky Mount. And so throughout the year, we had 11 employment cases that came to our office, and staff provided direction or we got involved with. Housing cases cover a wide array. It could be housing and discrimination, but I will say that majority of our cases deal with housing, with landlord-tenant situations. And so, as of this report from last month's meeting, we had dealt with over 201 cases dealing with landlord-tenants. So that number has gone up in the last month. Consumer cases could deal with someone who purchases something or been involved in a situation, maybe a car deal they weren't satisfied with, or it could be some any other things that they were actually purchased. Could be utilities they feel like they have an issue with, their bill, stuff like that. So we have currently sold for 45 of those. Crisis cases, 15. Crisis could fall in either one of these categories. A lot of times we get calls or requests to address situations dealing with housing, where a family or individual may be becoming homeless, and it could be an eviction process, or it could be an issue with where a person has a medical issue, and is really, and the landlord or the property manager is not aware of really what's going on. So we try to intervene in those situations and try to keep people from being homeless. Some of those cases may involve some of this discrimination. It could be housing, it could be employment, 6 of those. Volunteer participant hours, and this is volunteers from youth council, volunteers from you all do things and help out. The other 2 commissions, the Mayor's Commission on Persons with Disabilities, MLK Commission, And also, we have some VIP people that do some volunteer hours also. So 665, and that would be probably a little bit over 700 by the end of June. We get a lot of calls and other requests in our office, and we try to track those as much as possible. So throughout the year, we do somewhere around 2,000 inquiries. We handle around 2,000 inquiries. They could consist of services with the city, someone need resources in the community, can be outside the community, statewide, or whatever. A lot of calls come to our office, and we try to, if we don't have the answer, we can help to find it. And so as of last month, there was at 1,900 plus.
All right, and we have one final report. The Council of Community Services, that is a group of nonprofits who get together every third Tuesday of each month at Harambe Square. And also they use the Wiley Room at the library as well. They meet at 12:30. That group gets together. It's a really good group for networking, to know and to learn about what resources are out here in the community. Many people don't know what's available out here. They come into a situation, they need assistance with their kid, etc. So this group, it's comprised of many nonprofits in our area. And the library is a member. I currently serve as the president and the treasurer of the group. The health departments are a member. Department of Social Services are members. So it's just a variety of programs here. Our office arranges the meetings for this group and schedule the agendas. And schedule the monthly meetings for that group between the months of September through June. That is their fiscal year. And also the group does special projects. This past year we had a special project in which we actually made care bags for women and young ladies who are involved with domestic violence situations, for intimate partner situations in which the police department was called out. Many of them, police departments go out any time of the night. And sometimes these young ladies and women do not have any type of necessary hygiene or just resources or things that they can use immediately. So this group, the Council of Community Services, made a number of care bags. So when the police gets a call like that, they will have something to give to those ladies who are involved in those type of situations.
I have a question. Is there, I'm very interested in what you're saying, because we know that we have needs and we know that we have services, but what we have never found to do is a good way to put those two together. So is there a list of those services that you're talking about, and could these be made available to the public? Because it's one thing to have a need and one thing to have a service, but if the need can't be met with the service, then everybody's unhappy.
Yeah, we do have a list.
Okay.
I think I have an updated list of
Okay.
the number of services out here, but yeah, that could be made.
Okay. I mean, how would the public know? You know.
Call the Human Relations Department.
We wouldn't know to do that, is what I'm saying.
They need more than 2,000 phone calls.
Let's make it easier to put the needs and the resource together. I think what you're doing is great. I'm
Appreciate it.
very positive.
Also, to kind of add to that, in the budget process for next year, our department will have a new staff person, a new position added, which would be an employee relations specialist, will be added to our department for the next fiscal year.
All right.
Will that be internal for the city employees
Yes,
relations?
internal facility. Yes, Mr. Dancy.
I think it was a very good presentation, and I think anytime a new member come on, that it needs to be done, and that will be a refresher for the current members.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, I've never thought the Human Relations Commission or the Human Relations Department got enough recognition anyway. I think with all the things that you guys are doing, I think it's in order that we give them a round of applause for a lot of hard work. Absolutely. Is that your complete report, Archie?
It is, and
Okay.
this is kind of a draft, so I will formalize it more formally for the year end, but we have to
Okay.
provide city manager and council with some of the same information.
Gotcha. I've heard nothing but good things about you and your team. Other commission concerns or questions? We're moving toward the end of our agenda. Yes, sir.
I would like to share from the last meeting of the State Human Relations Commission.
Okay.
And a determination there, a similar report was provided by the state staff. And one of the growing areas of their interest has been service animals versus comfort animals and the licensure. And there's currently legislation to make a determination as to what is a service animal. And service animals are prescribed by a licensed physician for particular purposes and reasons. And then support animals is where it gets fuzzy. And the purpose behind this is you may have a landlord who doesn't want dogs, or you may have an HOA organization that bans particular breeds of dogs or what have you. And in this, you've got, say a psychiatrist prescribes a comfort dog for an individual with PTSD, and he lives in a neighborhood where the HOA won't let them have that particular breed. They're working laws to where the law would have that waiver would be in place for someone who has been properly prescribed that service animal or comfort animal. The other thing that runs in is, unfortunately, there are people on the internet to where you give them $29.95 and you can buy all the stuff that you need to have it. You can take your, you can suddenly have support chickens. And one of the cases that they have brought up,
I think I heard about that.
there was a young lady who was living in an apartment and she was blind. For religious reasons, she could not have a seeing eye dog. So they got her a seeing eye miniature horse. A seeing eye miniature horse, and she was on a second floor apartment. She made application through the Human Relations Commission in the city that she was in that the landlord had to accommodate her seeing eye horse. She was demanding at that time that an elevator be put in, that a stable be put in to accommodate her special needs for this service horse. There was a video taken of this horse, and she was blind as she could be, going through a supermarket with her horse, and the horse sitting there nibbling on the vegetables. The supermarket hadn't let the horse in. A compromise was made with that landlord that she could be moved to a first floor apartment. And he did not have to have a stable for her. But that's the extreme that some of these things get into. And unfortunately, our state legislature is making a determination that a true licensed physician, medical professional, has to be the prescribing authority for either service or support animals of whatever breed and kind they be. And that had been the bulk of the complaints coming into the state, was that the service and support animal issues. And that was in addition to the hundreds of housing complaints. And at Human Relations Commission at this level and at the state level, fair housing enforcement tends to be their biggest thing. And one of the issues they were running into is, particularly in the eastern part of the state, there are a lot of complaints where housings, people are being constructively evicted, which means you're not being evicted, but because of conditions, you can't stay there. Whether it be that the house is such a poor standard that you don't need to be living there, or there's mold, mildew, or something of that nature. And that's an issue that the state is also looking to address to determine if it would be part of a fair housing if someone is in a unit that is unsafe. Currently, fair housing really doesn't address safety matters, only discrimination. So if they find that, if I walk up and I want to rent a house, they make sure I get one that, no mold and anything. You walk up to the same place and they show you the house with the mold, they don't tell you about it, and they can show that that's a discriminatory practice, then there can be some mold work in there. But for the most part, the Human Relations Commission of the state is unable to actually address a constructive eviction because of the conditions of the property.
Wow,
So that's what the state is looking at issuing right now, and legislation is going through.
Keep us
trying to get
abreast of
laws
that,
changed.
Ralph, keep us abreast of that, so if Archie didn't get any cases here for comfort chicken, that we can have some special meals and brew.
Yeah, bacon.
And talk about that, that's amazing, it really is. Any other concerns? Mr. Dancy, go right ahead.
We know Rocky Mount ready to get a new, animal control, board
Okay.
too. I
Okay.
served on the one in, Edgecombe County, just got reappointed, got the same, call that you got, asked if I wanna do it. So I think, that'll probably take care of that.
I hope you do something about the deer in the city limits.
But I'm not in Rocky Mount, I'm not in Rocky Mount.
Well, that's right. You can't do that.
But you can get, but there's some openings on the board, so, you know, I'm just throwing it out, there's some openings on the board.
Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
There, and I think that, well, I know it involves us, or we should be able to say something about it, or at least address it. There's a lot of bad information going out into our city. And what I mean by bad information, I mean erroneous information, false information. It's not true. And people are coming to the city council saying, oh, I heard y'all, you know, you don't have department heads and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, that's not true.
That's correct.
That's, you know, I mean, they are going by what either somebody told them online, you know, what they read online, what somebody has told them in a conversation, or from reading the Freudian slip, the telegram. Telegram, I'm sorry, I said telegram, I'm sorry. But,
That's sad.
but getting bad information, or not being able to synthesize the information that's out there so that they can give to their communities. And I think we need to kind of quell that, because that creates discord within a community when bad information goes out.
Yeah,
You know, and that's just not good.
absolutely.
You know, it's not good to have that bad. So I don't know what we can do. I don't know how we can do it. I know individually, you know, if we know that something is going on, is wrong, we need to address it with the people in our community. Say, no, that's not right. You know, on our Facebook page or wherever. But we needed to kind of dispel that, because it's getting ridiculous now to the point where you go to a city council meeting and you're like, really?
And that's
Same
more
old-
my idea,
same
that
old.
good has to be promoted, just like evil gets promoted, good has to be promoted.
Right.
Archie, we would have some guests, if you want.
Well, wait a minute, I asked a question, maybe
Okay,
you
good.
covered it in your report, I'm not sure. But I thought I asked for a report back from the city council where we stood on the Confederate monument.
I have nothing so far, but as soon as I get something out, I'll
Okay.
get it.
I remember that, you did. bring
Right.
that up for us.
And then the other piece was basically, what Mr. Nehemiah was talking about. You just called out what this department can do. So my question would be, if, y'all talking about the Rocky Mount Satellite, but I want to talk about WJIG TV, whatever you want. It ought to be called, it ought to be called Rocky Mount City Council, because that's all they talk about. You don't have to answer the question today, but I would love to know how can we address that, to kind of dispel some of the rumors, and you all work with Rocky Mount, y'all ought to be more concerned than I am. But I would love to know how that can be addressed. If we can't, then we might have to take other avenues, but we need to find a way to address that. I think, oh, and then the other piece, I would like for you to re-up. You don't need to be concerned about the appointment, you need to be concerned about if you want to serve. And then the other thing, public comments, I guess that's what you're gonna do then, if anybody has anything.
Okay.
Thank you.
If there's nothing else from the body, we have a couple of guests here, and since the meeting has concluded, if you want to introduce yourself and say something, we'll allow that.
Sure. Of course, I'm Brian C. Williams. I just thought that at one of the meetings we were previously at, that we were going to add public comments to the agenda. I still see that's not on the agenda as currently as other commissions do allow public comments to happen. And in conjunction to what you were talking about, I would also say the same thing, to certainly apply for any commission that is there, because the value that every individual person adds to a commission is certainly important. And the current mayor still has that appointment authority that he needs to be able to exercise as well. And any good elected official coming onto a board should be able to work with any and everybody. So it would be my suggestion, as Camilla said, Ms. Nancy said, to certainly re-up, that's the term I was going to use, to reapply for those positions. Because in fact, even if you're sitting in that position, when it's time to apply for those, every seat's essentially open. So anybody can apply for those positions open. So just because you may not apply, someone still could apply during that time period. So the value that you've added to this commission over the years, we certainly wouldn't want that value to be lost because of the election, so to speak. But that's my comments today.
Ms. Williams?
Yes, I would like to say something.
How's everybody doing? I have really enjoyed this. And I want to say, I know about this commission because of Mr. Danson. 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I can lay in my bed and go to YouTube and look at this stuff. So I am so appreciative of you, Mr. Danson, for uploading this stuff to the, on YouTube. I also want to say on the projects, I meant the needs and solutions. Your name is?
Me?
Yes, you. I'm sorry.
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey,
Yes,
do you have a website where all of this information is at?
No, ma'am.
There's no website. Okay, but you're gonna figure out some way to get it to
To
me.
let, right, I hope so.
All right, and the other thing I wanted to say is, you all talking about the demographic list and adding the 2 seats and all of that. You may want to consider waiting for the 2020 census that we do have all the information, because that's right around the corner. So that may be something you may want to take into consideration.
As you guys do your research, I'm sure you consider that.
And get her name, get her name.
Okay, it's Missy Lane.
Elaine Williams.
Right, she didn't say it, I mean, for the record.
Oh, okay.
I have a thought about that. I think it's, I think we need to have representation. If it's based on population, then we're gonna be like the House of Representatives and not like the Senate. I would like to see us more like the Senate, where everybody has a seat at the table, regardless of the population. Anyway, that's just what I'm throwing out. If it's based on demographics, then you're gonna have an overwhelming number. So what I mean, if everybody has the same, if everybody is represented equally, then it's more of a voice to be heard.
I was just thinking of the percentile that they were
Yeah, that's what I'm
talking
saying.
about.
If this representation is based on population, then we're not gonna get very far, I think. So I want everybody to have a seat at the table.
Okay, we appreciate those comments. The only other thing I want to say is, if you go to Greenville by the Daily Reflector, I think is what it's called, it looks just like the Telegram. You know, the same company has
Same
both of
company
them.
owns it.
The Telegram has become so impersonal. I mean, why are we sitting in Rocky Mount reading about a wreck in Raleigh? I mean, it's like, it's not even covering the city anymore. That's my 2 cents worth.
What's going on in Greenville, Charlotte?
Yeah.
And that's the situation where just about all
Yeah.
print mediums
Yeah.
have gone to that just to survive and sell
That's sad.
advertising.
If we don't have any other,
I
cause
just
we're
make one
moving
other
it,
comment
okay,
on
go right
that.
ahead, go right ahead.
With local media, local
Uh-huh.
social media, regional, national, international news and opinion, unfortunately, yeah, we have a great constitution in the state and in the US that First Amendment, people can say whatever they've got, and if they've got the money to buy a TV station or a radio station or set up a blog, it gets put out there.
Yeah,
And
that's for sure.
as a perfect example, watch Fox News and then flip over to MSNBC. They may be talking about the exact same issue, and you'll think it's two different,
I
totally
know,
different
that's
things.
why I stopped watching Fox.
And-
Can't do Fox.
I don't watch either one. I don't watch either, but
Guess
I
it's
just,
called freedom of speech.
Okay.
well, it's freedom of speech and it's all, yeah, they're
right,
playing to an audience.
We're about 7 minutes over our time. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn if there's no further business.
So moved.
This till September.
Okay,
Just September.
until September?
Until September.
All right, meeting's adjourned.
No.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you allowing me to mouth off.
They call me.
Look well.
Back on
I got to run over to another church for another meeting right quick.
Oh, man, I tell you,
Yes,
that's
Awesome, good to see you, man. Always good to see you. All right.
You got something to get black folks, so I just wanted.
I haven't had anything against it. That's your impression, That's your
It ain't mine.
which is wrong.
It ain't mine, cause I get it from other folks. A lot of time I get credit for stuff that I say, come from other folks.
Well, I mean, what other folks that are hiding behind you, don't you give grief when they don't hide behind, when they hide behind a name?
They ain't hiding behind me.
Were you saying that you get your stuff from other folks? What other
Now, they
folks?
said I get my stuff from other folks. I said.
You just said
No,
you
I
did.
did not. I said
So
some
you
stuff.
talking backwards,
Oh, well,
forward,
whatever,
sideways, up and down.
whatever.
Yeah.